Now I'm going to demonstrate the skill of synchronized cardioversion for specific indications, conditions, and contraindications, of course referred to your specific medical director. Now to perform the synchronized cardioversion, of course we want to make sure that our monitoring cables are plugged in and that the 4 limb leads are on, and so that we're getting an ECG reading. We also want to make sure that our therapy cable is plugged in and that the therapy cable is attached to the big pads or the defibrillation pads. Now you can shock someone anterolateral or you can shock anterior posterior, but currently the LP12 manual suggests that anterolateral is the preferred method. And so we have our big pads placed anterolateral with good adhesion, good pad placement, and we have our machine all set up and ready to go. We'd have our patient supine on the bed, and at this point it would be appropriate to get your orders for what your energy settings are going to be. Especially remember not just to get your first energy setting, but your subsequent energy settings in case the first shock is not successful. Secondly, at this point, if the patient were able to tolerate it, and you had time, this would be the time to think about some sedation, perhaps even some analgesia if you get orders for that. Now to go about cardioverting, we have to remember to hit the sync button. Very important, because if we don't hit the sync button, then we're going to shock them in a unsynchronized defibrillation, which could send them into ventricular fibrillation, which is not what we want to do. So we hit our sync button and we see the little green light going, and what we see hopefully is the little triangles marking all the tops of the R waves, and in this case it's working quite well. It won't always do that, and if it doesn't mark them well, you can always change the lead by highlighting this channel, pushing the selector knob, pressing it again to select a lead, and then look around and try some other lead. So let's see what lead 1 looks like. And lead 1 looks lousy. We're getting a really lousy tracing. The little markings are hardly recognizing any of them, so we don't want that. Let's try lead 3. And lead 3 looks good. It's marking all the tops of the R waves, so that's good enough for me. Alright, so we know that we're synced, and we've got our patient prepared. We want to make sure that everyone is standing clear of the patient, because this is a shock delivery. We want everyone off of the patient, no one touching them, and we want to warn them that this is going to hurt. This is a necessary procedure, but there is pain involved, so give them fair warning. Now, the other thing that's a good practice to do is to hit the print button before you go ahead and shock, and leave it running during the synchronized cardioversion, so you can capture a good event of what happened electrically. So I'm going to hit my print button now, let the paper run. I'm going to choose my energy settings, and that I would have gotten by the doctor's orders, and let's say he said to start, or she said to start at 100 joules. I'm going to charge, and I'm going to push and hold my shock button so everyone's clear of the patient. I delivered my shock, and we can see it was unsuccessful, so it didn't do anything. So in order to reshock, I'm just going to turn this print off for a second. In order to re-shock him, you'll notice it's in asynchronous mode. There's no more sync marking, so I have to push sync again. So the sync is on. It's marking all the tops of the R waves, which is good. Now I have to warn the patient that I'm going to give them another shock. It is going to hurt, but again, it's something we need to do. Now I'm going to go to my next energy setting. Let's say that was 150. I'm going to charge, and I'm going to print while I do this. And I'm going to push and hold the shock button, making sure everyone's clear of the patient. Push and hold. Shock is delivered. And we can see we've got a nice conversion there. So immediately we'd want to check that, check our ABCs, and make sure that the patient doesn't have, in fact, have output with that rhythm. So at this point, a good accurate set of vital signs would be in order.